The Magic Lake. Once upon a time, the king of a great land had a son who brought him great joy, but also brought him sorrow. When the prince was born, he was in poor health and sickly. As the years passed, no one could find a cure for him. One night, the king sought magical advice.
Oh, great God, I am getting old, and soon will leave my people to join you in the heavens. There is no one to look after them but my son, the prince. Please tell me how he can be cured.
The king waited for an answer, and then heard a mysterious voice from the fire that burned always by the altar.
When the prince drinks the water from the magic lake at the end of the world, he will be well.
But the king was too old to make the long journey himself, and the prince was too ill. So he proclaimed over his land that whosoever would bring back the water from the lake at the end of the world would be richly rewarded. Many brave men set out to try, but none could find it. In a far valley of that kingdom, there lived a poor farmer with his wife, 2 sons, and a daughter. One day, the older son said,
Father, Papa, let my brother and I search for the healing water. We shall return before the moon is full to help with the harvest. Please let us go. We've never seen the end of the world.
The second son also wanted to go, but the father feared for them. Then his wife said,
We must help our king and prince.
The father gave his blessing, and the sons set out on their journey. They traveled far and found many lakes, but they never really felt like it was a lake at the end of the world. And eventually, they knew they had to return to help their father.
Hey, little brother, since we couldn't find the lake at the end of the world, let us gather water from every lake on the way back. In this way, maybe one lake will work, and we will receive the reward from the king.
When they returned to the palace, they told the king that they had brought water from the magic lake. When the prince was given the water, he remained as ill as before. The brothers trembled with fright, for they knew their falsehood had been discovered. The king angrily threw them into prison. Once again, the king pleaded for help from his people. Suma, the little sister of the brothers, was tending her flock of llamas when she heard the royal messenger. She quickly led her llamas home and begged her parents to let her go and look for the lake.
You're too young, my daughter.
Besides, look at what has befallen on your brothers. We cannot bear to be without our dear Suma.
But think how sad our king will be if his son dies. And if I find the lake, perhaps the king will forgive my brothers.
Dear husband, maybe we should let her go.
And they gave her their blessing. Bravely, Suma set off with one of her favorite pet llama to carry her provisions, a bag of golden corn, and a flask of water. In the night, she slept in the top branches of a tall tree. In the morning, she was aroused by the voices of the gentle birds resting on a nearby branch. They were talking about how she had shared her corn with them yesterday, and how she would never be able to find the magic lake.
Let's help her. Oh yes, please do. We shall help you, for you are a good child. Each of us will give you a special wing feather, and you must hold them all together in one hand like a fan. These feathers have magic powers that will carry you wherever you wish to go. They will also protect you from harm.
Each bird carefully gave her a special feather. She made a little fan and tied them with fleece from llama's hair.
There are 3 terrible creatures that guard the magic lake. But have no fear. You will not be harmed as long as you hold up the magic feathers and sing this song.
No fear here, angels standing near.
Suma gratefully thanked the birds, and, holding the fan, said,
"Please, take us to the magic lake at the end of the world."
At once, a soft breeze lifted them out through the valley. Up wind was carried and over the snowy peaks. At last, the wind put them down on the shore of a lake, touched by the sky. She ran to the water and was about to fill her flask when a large crab said,
"Oi, you there! Get away from my lake, or I'll eat you!"
The crab threw his huge claw towards Suma, but her llama came to the rescue and spit into the eyes of the crab.
Blech! Ugh! Yuck! Oh, you dirty animal!
The llama gave Suma just enough time to hold up her magic feathers and sing,
"No fear, angels stand near."
The crab closed his eyes and fell asleep. Suma once more began to fill her bottle when a voice came from the water.
"Get away from my lake, or I will eat you!"
As soon as the llama saw the alligator, he spit into his eyes too.
Llama spit! Disgusting!
Quickly, Suma held up the fan and sang, and the creature sank to the bottom of the lake, asleep. As Suma recovered from her fright, she heard a whistling voice.
Get away from my lake with your llama, or my venom will kill you.
Suma looked up and saw a flying serpent. The serpent then threw her venom towards Suma, but this time, Llama spit high in the air. The venom from the snake and the spit from the llama hit in mid-air and fell to the ground. Again, Suma's fan and song saved her from harm. The serpent drifted to the ground, folded its wings, and began to snore. Suma hugged the llama, and she calmed down. She kissed the llama and then filled up her flask. Holding her fan, she whispered,
"Please take us to the palace."
Suddenly, she was at the palace gate. A guard led her to the prince, who was pale and motionless. When Suma gave him a few drinks from the magic lake, he sat up and said joyfully,
"How strong I feel!"
The king and queen rejoiced. They praised her courage and offered her all the riches of the kingdom. She said that she had only 3 wishes. The first was that the fan is returned to the birds, and it immediately flew out of the window. The second wish was that her brothers be freed. Immediately the king had them released. The last wish was for a large farm with many llamas for her parents.
It will be so. Will you not stay with us in the palace? We will do everything to make you happy.
"Oh no, thank you. I miss my family and wish to return to them."
And so she returned home and lived happily ever after with her parents and brothers and their llamas. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get future updates. And don't forget to comment.